Hello friends, welcome back. So today I'm going to teach you how to make this phone bag. Finally, I'm going to be showing you how to make this. It's made in 6 parts. Actually, if I add this end, then I would say it's made in 8 parts, but it is made in 6 parts. So you would make the front separately, the back, the sides, the bottom, the straps, and this little things that holds the D-ring. So let's go ahead and begin. For this tutorial, I would be using a 4 weighted yarn, and instead of using the 5.5mm crochet hook as recommended for this yarn, I would be using a 4.5mm crochet hook. You would also need a tapestry needle, a scissors, a 3mm to 4mm beads for the front. That is if you want to have beads in front like this. Otherwise, you don't need the beads. You also need 2 swivels and 2 D-rings for the strap area. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to start with the back portion. We're going to make a slip knot. If you don't know how to make a slip knot, you can watch my video on how to make a slip knot. So I have a video on my channel that shows you how to make a slip knot. So the video is slow, so you can go ahead, watch that, and come back to the lesson. All right, so here's my slip knot, and you're going to go ahead and make 18 chains. So I have my 18 chains. So I also want to let you know I have all beginner videos on how to make. So the stitches I'll be using for this tutorial, which is a chain, a slip knot in half double crochet. So you can watch my videos on how to make this before trying this foam bag out, because it will make it much easier for you to follow along. All right, so now that we have our 18 chains, we're going to be working on the back bumps of the chains we just made. So you're going to skip the first 2 chains, and you're going to half double crochet in the 3rd chain. You will yarn over inside your hook where that back bump is, pull up a loop. You should have 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So that's what we're going to do for the rest of this back bump. Okay, so we're at the end of a row right here, and now you would chain 1 on your work. So you continue with half double crochet again in every stitches all the way to the end. So that's the pattern. So you would make 19 rows. I am making this for my iPhone 16 Pro Max. So if you have a smaller phone, I would say to measure your phone and just make the length of your phone. So we would go ahead again, add half double crochet in every stitch all the way around, and then chain 1, turn your work, do the same until you get to the end of row 19. So I'll meet you back at the end of row 19. Okay, so we've come to the end of row 19. So I have just 2 stitches. Okay, and this is my last stitch here. Okay, so once you're at the end, just chain 1 fast enough and cut your yarn. So once you pull it out, just tug on it to tighten it. Okay, and we are done with the back portion. So now we're going to do the sides. So it will still be the same thing for the stitches. We will still be using half double crochet for it. Okay, so for the side we will make a slip knot, and then we will chain 32. Okay, so now that we have 32 chains made, we will go ahead and add a half double crochet on the 3rd bump. So we're going to add half double crochet on the 3rd chain's back bump, and in every back bump all the way to the end. Okay, alright, so this is our first half double crochet. So we're going to continue doing a half double crochet until the last stitch right here. Okay, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we are at our last bump, so we're gonna go ahead and add a half double crochet, and then chain one. We will repeat same thing. We're going to make a half double crochet in the first stitch and in every stitch all the way to the end. Then fasten off and cut your yarn. That would be your side one. Go ahead and repeat this again for side two, and I'll meet back with you once you have your side two completed. Okay, so we have completed our two sides, so they're going to be like this on both sides. So now we're going to go ahead and make the bottom. So for the bottom, we're just making 2 rows just like the back. So all we're doing is chaining 18 like the back side. We make a slip knot, chain 18, and then we add half double crochet in the back bumps. So starting on the 3rd chain all the way to the end, and then we chain 1, turn our work, and then again half double crochet all the way to the end, and then we fasten off. So I will see you at the end of the row 2 of the bottom part. Okay, so we are at the end of our stitch here, so the last stitch. So I'm adding my half double crochet, and now I will chain 1 and fasten off. So now we are done with the bottom portion, so we're going to go ahead and make sure you can see this all the way. Okay, so we're going to sew it in like this. So you can either use a slip stitch if you don't want to sew or don't know how to sew. So but before we put them together, we are going to go ahead and make the front portion. Okay, all right, so for the front portion, I don't know if I want to do the beading for this tutorial because it takes some time to add the beads on here. So what I do to add the beads, you're just going to go ahead and add as many beads. I believe it's about 76 beads for the front portion. So you just add your beads, so string them. I'm going to string maybe about 8 to 10 beads to show you how to add the beads, but my complete work for the front portion would not really have the beads. I'm just gonna show you how to do it for now. Okay, all right, so I will string 10 beads here. One moment. Okay, so I have strung 10 beads here, so I am going to go ahead and push them down, and I'm going to chain 22. Okay, so we've made 22 chains, so we're going to skip the first 9 chains. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So on the 10th stitch, back bump, make a single crochet. Okay, so this is our first single crochet. We're going to go ahead and chain 5, and then we're going to skip the first 3 chains, and on the 4th chain's back bump, make a single crochet. So this is going to be the pattern all the way to the end. So again, we will chain 5, and we'll skip the first 3 chains, and on the 4th chain's back bump we'll make a single crochet, and then again we will chain 5 and a single crochet at the last stitch. Okay, I'll meet you at the end of the row. Oh, this is my last single crochet here. All right, so this is how your work should look, and then we will go ahead and chain 6. 1, and we will turn our work like so. So I usually push the bead like about this much before making my single crochet. So that's my first bead, and I'll go ahead and continue with the pattern. So we will chain 5, and then again inside that loop we will make a single crochet. So this is our second bead. We will go ahead again and chain 5. Then we'll push a bead through. Okay, and on the loop we're going to add a single crochet. Again, we chain 5, and then we push a bead through. And then again, we're going to go here and we're going to add a single crochet. Okay, so we are at the end. So this is how it should look. So like here, so this is how it looks here on the black one I made. So this is the first 4 beads that we just made here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add the beads again once we turn our work. So again, we're going to chain 6 and then we turn our work, and then we're going to push our bead close. So we're going to place a single crochet again in the loop. So we are now pushing our beads through. So we're just going to complete pulling up a loop like so, and then we're going to push that bead before we complete our single crochet. So as you can see, it will still stay in the front instead of coming right here at the back. All right, so that's what we're going to do all the way to the end. So again, we're going to chain 5. So every time you begin a row, you have to chain 6, and then for this other loops it has to be 5 chains. So again, we're going to make 5 chains, and we're going to go ahead here and pull up a loop, and we will move our bead all the way, move it all the way to right here, and we will go ahead and complete our single crochet. So again, chain 5, and we will go ahead and make a single crochet here. Then don't forget to push your bead through. So you have to pull up a loop first before you push your bead, and then once you push your bead, then you complete that single crochet. So our last stitch for this row, we chain 5, we do the same thing again, and then we push our bead, and then we complete our single crochet. Okay, so that is the pattern. So we will continue doing this until we get 20 rows instead of 19. Gonna be longer than the back portion just by a little bit. So it will look like this if you make 20 rows. So I like it this way, so that's why I made 20 rows. So if you like, you can just do 19 rows. So continue making 6 chains, and then turn your work, same thing that we did again. We're going to move our bead a little bit closer, and then we will complete the single crochet. So this is what you will keep doing all the way. So again, chain 5, do a single crochet, chain 5, single crochet, chain 5, single crochet, and chain 6, turn your work. So this is how you're going to keep doing it all the way to row 20. Again, you don't have to use the beads. I'm not going to complete it with the beads, so I will be seeing you on row 20, and I'm gonna go ahead and remove these beads and redo them without the beads. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 18. So I am actually going to stop at row 18 for this particular tutorial, because when I made it in black, I used the 50% cotton and 50% acrylic yarn. So this yarn that I'm currently using is 100% acrylic, so it's a little bit stretchy. stretchy, so I'm not making 20 rows. For the black one I made 20 rows, so for this one I only made 18 rows. If you're using 100% acrylic, I encourage you to make just about 18 or until it is the same size as the back portion of your phone bag. I did row 17 and I saw that it was almost the same height as the back portion of my work, so I decided to just add only one more row, so I stopped at row 18. So make it up to row 18 if you use 100% acrylic yarn. If you use a cotton yarn, just make it all the way to row 20. I've made my last single crochet here, so I am going to go ahead and fasten off. Now cut my yarn, and then I'll pull this out and just tighten it like this. Okay, so we've completed our front part, and now we're going to make the little side portion that would hold this D-ring. We will make the two sides, so there's two of them, before making the strap. So it's still going to be the same thing. We're just making a slip knot, and then we're making 7 chains, and then we're just going to add a half double crochet on the 3rd chain's back bump, and then all the way to the last bump we're going to make a half double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1 at the end of our work. And so this is 2 of my sides, so that's going to be for the D-ring. And then now we're going to make the strap. You're making a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 182 or to the desired length that you want your foam bag to be. Once you get to 182, go ahead and half double crochet to the 3rd chain's back bump, and then to every back bump all the way to the end. For the strap, for these ones that would be holding down the D-ring, we're only making 1 row of half double crochet. Okay, so now that we have everything all completed, we're going to go ahead and sew our bag. We're going to go ahead here and sew the side. So this is side 1 and this is side 2. So what we're going to do now is just sew this bottom portion. So we're going to sew the bottom portion to the side. So I'm going to start on the side, and just make sure that you have a very long tail. Actually, before we do the sewing, let's go ahead and weave in our ends. Okay, so we've sewed in our ends. We're going to go ahead now and sew our side to the bottom portion. So I'm going to sew the sides together first. Yeah, so we're just gonna attach the swivel to the D-ring like this, and we're gonna do it to the other side as well. Okay. All right, so we are done with our phone bag. This is it with the phone case. It looks super nice. I love the color. You know, I did one in black and I wanted one in yellow, so this is actually really pretty. All right, so if you have any questions at all about this tutorial, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what color you'll be making. All right, I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Bye.